Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so today I'm back again with the final Alliance War video of season 23 and there's quite a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the season overall as we go along, but this war is against ISO8A and they are very strong Masters Alliance, and this was actually extremely close war as well, and in fact for majority of the war I believe we were losing by a couple of deaths. I think they died first. We took the lead, but then we died like 4 or 5 times in a row, and they just didn't. And that made this war very close. 100% honest, part of that wasn't too bad because we knew that we are second, win or lose. Effectively, this war didn't change too much for our alliance, but we still wanted to win. And we played to win. And for me personally, I had won this entire season without giving away a death, and that is how I wanted to finish this season. However, my Alliance War officers decided to make it a bit harder for me, which is actually perfectly cool because I like it that way, and they gave me the final boss as well. So, if I wanted a perfect season, if I wanted a deathless season, I had to solo the final boss. So this time we are going to be going up against Protect Global, and it's kind of increasingly more popular, but honestly also quite easy, and I don't know, I really don't see the benefit of running Protect, but either way, there is a good thing for me, probably less so good thing for you that comes with our opponents running Protect Global. And that is the fact that Quake can come out to play, because Quake completely ignores Protect Global, and any champion that can get Quaked will. So in short, if you are one of those people who don't want to watch my clumsy Quake gameplay, you will probably have to fast forward to like the final 2 fights, because all first 7 fights I believe in this war are with Quake. And then I have a Void Mini that I take with Nick Fury, and then I have a Sasquatch final boss that I take with Human Torch. Right. So for now I was playing Keep the Yellow Bar with Quake, and I wanted to finish the fight without taking a single hit in the block. I had made one mistake that you guys can see here, and that is the fact that I let my heavy go, and it's quite annoying against Blade, to be honest, because the more power he has, the quicker he shrugs off the stuns, and yeah, you really shouldn't do that. But the fight's over, it didn't take all that long even with that class disadvantage, and we can move on to the next fight, which is going to end up being Colossus. This is also, I believe, first time I took path 7 in section 1 in this season. I hadn't taken that path in a really long time, but again, just Quake. Very simple, very straightforward. Next up, Colossus. Big Colossus, admittedly, but still just a Colossus. There is a tricky thing about Colossus, though, because if his ability accuracy is reduced, he has like 200% power gain. And we're going to notice that because once again, I'm going to make the same mistake. You can definitely see that I haven't been using Quake as much recently, because I am kind of trying to avoid using her purely for kind of like the video or stream purposes, because many people just don't, I don't know, for some reason like when I use Quake. But you're gonna see that when I drop that heavy attack at some point, he's gonna get a whole bunch of power. Anyway, Final War. Overall, I definitely enjoyed this season, even though as an alliance, obviously we lost against Kenobi, which sucks. That was our only loss within last 2 seasons, so that's kind of a good thing. But a loss is a loss, and well, the better alliance won this season. Definitely think they deserve it, because ultimately, even though we won 11 of our 12 wars, truth be told, it didn't quite feel as if we were playing as well as we could have as an alliance. As a battle group, for most part, we had a wonderful season. I believe we finished 4 wars without giving away a single death. So 4 times this season we went absolutely deathless, which is beautiful, beautiful sight to behold. We had a war where, against who it was either New Nation, I think it was New Nation, where we went with 1 death total as an alliance. And that was great. So we had definitely some highlights, but we also had some less than great wars and less than great moments. And truth be told, this war kind of felt like that as well, because we just made such a huge mess of things in the middle for no good reason, and then the war was like extremely, extremely tight. Even, yeah, till the very end. And I'm going to tell you guys how it ended towards the end. Here you can see that I'm reducing the volume there because I was doing these fights at work. Now, this is a one fight I will have to fast forward through, because my officers actually, in fact, if I may say so, were quite sadistic. We can see this fight going, Quake, first life of Nick Fury, 2 minutes, and then we have to deal with second life, and then he's still alive. We can see that I have been quaking for 3+ minutes against this Nick Fury, because obviously it's a rank 3 6-star. I'm using a rank 5 5-star. It wasn't absolutely perfect fight. I did get clipped, but still, 3+ minutes of quaking. I don't think you guys would want to sit through that. And yeah, that fight definitely gave me the burns in my fingers, because yeah, rank 3 6-star against rank 5 5-star, class disadvantage. I wasn't also max boosted at that point. Actually, I had completely run out of my 20 and 30% champion boosts. And in this war, I ended up waiting till Strife early access bundles come out, with the priority of purchasing them for the boosts for the final mini boss and boss fight. So just to make sure I do everything I can not to die, because once more, I wanted to keep that clean season. And yeah, next up, When of the Dark on Path 3. Path 3 nodes, for most part, are quite irrelevant. I like to refer to Path 3 as kind of like a kindergarten of Alliance War, where that's kind of like nothing to do lane, which is fair enough. If my officers want to send me there, I'll go and do what I'm told. That's how I approach Alliance War at large. I am very thankful that I'm not an officer, that I don't have to do any planning. I go where they tell me, and I kill who they tell me to kill with whatever tools they think is best. If I have a better idea, I bring that up. But for most part, I like to look at myself much more as just a soldier in the fight than anything else. So yeah, I just do what I'm told and try to do it as well as I can do, and that is it. And I also personally believe that that is the way how Alliance as a group can succeed. But yeah, another Quake fight. As I said, first 7 fights, I believe, in this war are all Quake fights. So here, that Venom the Duck is nearly down. After this Venom the Duck, I'm going to be taking that joint mini island combination fight. I don't know. It's not really a mini boss, I think, but whatever it is, I'll be taking it. And that is going to be Sentinel there on that buffet node. So I still have some energy. And yeah, once more, I could have easily brought in Torch. The reason I didn't, though, is because in case I do take some damage, I knew I'm going to be using Torch for the final boss. And I knew that this was planned to be the last fight for Quake. So I figured it's probably more reasonable to bring in Quake. If I do get clipped, I'm not going to have to heal her up. Or so I thought. But we're gonna get to that in a moment. And yeah, so we have strike, counter, power suppression, buffet, and whatever else have you. And it's all perfectly fine. It's all perfectly cool. Quake can do this all day. Doesn't matter that he's like large or extra large. That protect is not gonna come into play. And another thing that I definitely always enjoy and love, and not often mention, that when it comes to quaking, robots are the ones that I prefer quaking in Alliance for, by far, because they do not benefit from willpower. Quite often, if you go up against a stacked rank 3, especially if they have like large health pools, like, I don't know, Man-Thing or something, that willpower heal actually adds up significant amount of extra time that you have to quake, because you do inflict that concussion and they heal from it all the time, which is maybe not quite as much as the quake's concussion deals to them, but it basically nullifies all Quake's damage, or most of Quake's damage, for majority of the time in the fight. And if you're fighting against somebody who doesn't have willpower, or in this case somebody who can't benefit from willpower, it just makes fights a lot quicker compared to what they would be if you were fighting off against the willpower heal in addition to their health pools. So yeah, absolutely love quaking those guys. I took a couple of hits and block here, not the biggest of deal. I accidentally let go of my heavy, and since I did that, I didn't want to re-trigger the A node. I know there is a way to work around it, but I decided to keep it simple. So after I let go of my heavy attack, I simply that is a key. I simply decided to do heavy parry and take care of the fight that way. So once again, here reducing my volume, because as I was doing these fights, I was probably listening to some podcast or some videos in the background. Either way, I wasn't planning to take this Sabretooth fight, but the guy who wasn't around when the other guys wanted to clear stuff or something. Anyways, my officer asked me whether I'm about, can I quake it, so I applied relatively small set of boosts. I felt extremely confident, comfortable, but at the same time, I do not want to screw up. I'm so close to a perfect season. This war is, I believe, at this point tied, or we are down one death. So keep in mind, this is against ISO8A, very, very good alliance. There is no guarantee that they will die again. We had about similar exploration. Maybe at this point we were ahead by a few kills, but we were either tied or down a death. So I definitely didn't want to be the one who screws the pooch right now for so many different reasons. I didn't want to let my alliance down, I didn't want to ruin my perfect season, and I didn't want to bury this war in particular as well. But when it comes to the fight itself, obviously, Quake against Sabretooth, very simple. Done this fight dozens of times since forever, and definitely not worried. And yeah, a minute in the fight, he's there about halfway down. Obviously, it's a 6-star rank 3 mini boss. I don't have the big boost on, so I'm not quite getting him down as much as I would like to. But here you can definitely see that willpower effect. You can see that he's healing for like 127 at all times as I'm charging, and whilst I'm charging, I'm dealing 400 damage. So he's basically healing back about 45% to what I'm doing him all the time. So that's significant damage increase, and that definitely extends the fight quite a bit. But yeah, still waiting in the corner like Quake always does. But if you are one of those people who don't like watching Quake, then well, it's a good thing that this is the last Quake fight of the war and of the season as well. Right. So at this point, he's at like 9%. Just need to wait for like the last set of aftershocks to kick in. The fight will be over. So it's going to be 2-minute Quake fight, which is like fair enough. The fight is done. And next up is already the final. Since I waited so long here, at this point, we are nearly done exploring. We are nearly done exploring. These are like the last 2 or 3 fights left to do, period. The score, 5-5. Score is 5-5. ISO8A has about 15 or 10 nodes left. So it's pretty much, again, as close as it can be. If I don't screw up, we will basically minimum tie them. If I screw up, there's very, very big chance that we're going to lose. So obviously it's quite stressful. Even though this, again, isn't a war that really determines much in terms of our global placement. Actually, it wouldn't determine, well, it wouldn't change anything. We were locked in the second place globally in the world. So we've been unable to defeat, well, to retain the first spot, but still coming in second. Not too bad. Not too bad overall. So here I'm going up against Void, 6-star rank 3 Void. At this point, I definitely wish to have my rank 3 Nick Fury on offense, but no bueno, because he's on defense. So I have to use my 5-star, and it always kind of like breaks my heart a little bit. Right? Who likes to lock in their champions on defense, especially when they're as awesome as Nick Fury? Either way, all for the greater good. And I had a white Magneto pre-fight placed here, and that makes this fight extremely simple. I could have approached it in multitude different ways. I could have spawned level 1s, I could have dropped level 2s. Ultimately, I just decided to keep it very straightforward. I'm just gonna go hit Void and every combo with a light hit, save my power just in case, I don't know, for whatever reason. And yeah, we can see that he is going down. I'm managing the hits, purifying his debuffs even without having to really knock him down. I knew that if I had to knock him down, that was there, but I wasn't too concerned about preserving each and every HP point or anything like that. But here, finally, we have the grand finale, I suppose. So you can see that I have the 200% science boost activated, launch champion boost, medium attack and health boost. I'm gonna activate indestructible 3 boost because obviously it's a boss fight. I don't want to screw it up. I have had about 80 plus fights this season. I have had the most fights in the battle group, possibly in the Alliance. I'm gonna need double check on that. We actually keep the stats and officers, flash them in front of us now and then. But yeah, I have had the largest amount of fights in my battle group. I think finished the war season like 84 fights and like 27, 28 mini boss fights. Have plenty of defense skills as well, but I didn't have a boss solo. So here we go, Sasquatch. Obviously, Sasquatch is a chunky boy, but he's a mystic, so Human Torch will tear him a new one. Now, Protect is always at the back of my mind, though, and I definitely don't want to trigger that. And obviously, when you're fighting Sasquatch, the critical point is when he enters Wrath of Tanrak, and you want him to do so, actually, as early as possible for most part. Because if he enters Wrath of Tanrak when he has a lot of charges, it lasts forever. Here as well, I did make a mess, and he hit me twice. I actually didn't quite count how many times he hit me, so I wasn't entirely sure whether I do have that indestructible boost back in my pocket. So I was playing as if I do not. Because at the heat of the fight, or speed of the fight, didn't quite count how many hits he landed on me. But on the bright side, obviously the indestructible boost was there, and that is what it is for, more or less. At this point I also have 22 Smolders pre-fight active, and I'm dealing significant amount of damage, especially because he just exited Wrath of Tanrak, means his damage reduction abilities are minimal. And yeah, I just have to take it home. So it isn't a perfect fight by any means, but I feel relatively comfortable. But I'm gonna make a huge problem for myself right here. I by no means should have dropped that level 2. We can see that it gave him 2 protection stacks, and only way for me to remove them is to land an intercept, which I tried to do, but he doesn't want to dash in at me, so I do catch him, but neither one of those times it counted because he was just about to throw an attack, not dash at me. So it basically kind of landed 2 intercepts, but neither one of them really counted. So he still has those 2 protections. At this point, he enters Wrath of Tanrak again, but I finally nail that intercept, get rid of those protections, and I'm back to dealing that damage. So I made this fight significantly more difficult than it had any right to be, than it should have been. And in Wrath of Tanrak, his damage reduction disappears basically, and I clutch in the win. So that is season 23 done and dusted. We did end up winning the war after I cleared the boss. Basically, they saw that the best they can do, I believe, is a tie, and then they racked up several deaths in course of a few fights. They ended up at 11 deaths. But at the time I was fighting the boss, we were still tied. So it was definitely still extremely close war. Didn't manage to get one of those MVP spots once again, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, that means that tomorrow, hopefully we're gonna get a cool season reward opening with some featured action in 5 and 6 star variety. And yeah, definitely huge congrats to ISO8, everybody else who finished Masters, to Kenobi for coming in first, obviously ASR for coming in second, and I believe New Nation the third. But all in all, good season. Definitely happy about my performance. Actually, last season I was playing probably even better. I just had a very stupid 1 death which still is quite embarrassing to this day. But at least this season I avoided it. I had plenty of action, I had plenty of fun, and yeah, I hope you guys had a fun, awesome season as well. And if you did, then hit a like. If you didn't, still hit a like. Why not? I mean, what it is to you is just a like button. Either way, that is me done for now. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the